Now, for more on this, we're joined by Michael Sweet, partner at Fox Rothschild, live from San Francisco. He is an attorney. He joins us, and you know, this is such a difficult thing to explain to our international audience. I mean, Detroit used to be one of the wealthiest and biggest cities in America, and it's come down to this. And I'm just curious, how do you feel about this entire situation, and what does it really mean to our global audience when he asked the question is, what happened?
Well, you know, it's true, Phil. This has been a long time coming, as I'm sure you've reported on before. Detroit, once the 5th largest city in the United States with 1.8 million people, has shrunk to a city of under 700,000. Once the wealthiest city per capita in the United States, is now one of the poorest. Unemployment hovers near 20%, 40% of the property is abandoned. Detroit's in terrible shape. And the problem Detroit finds itself faced with is the same problem that a lot of the cities in the United States are having, which is they made promises to their employees to pay certain pension payments in the future, which they now can't pay. And in the case of Detroit, it's exacerbated by the fact that they've lost so much population, property values have dropped so much that they don't have the revenue they used to have to meet these obligations. And the number of pensioners they have is so great because the city used to be much larger. So for every cop on the street, they might be paying 2 retired police officers pensions. The city just, it wasn't sustainable any longer.
Michael, I want to get to the technical side of this. Li-Ling was talking about the latest ruling from the state sector, and I want to brief our audience as to what's happening here. They filed for bankruptcy. Some people said that the bankruptcy violates state constitution law. A federal judge, or a judge, I should say, has now said that the bankruptcy might move forward. And we were talking earlier before the interview, and you said it might not be over. Might not be the end of this.
Look, there's a lot of people with a lot at stake here. There's a lot of very, very good lawyers, very creative lawyers, very smart lawyers. There's never been a city the size of Detroit that has filed bankruptcy, and there's a lot of opportunity to develop jurisprudence along these lines. So I wouldn't say that it's inconceivable that someone comes up with a different argument. What happened in the last few days was that there were cases pending in state court, 3 state court lawsuits that had been going on the side, and the federal bankruptcy judge ruled this morning that those all needed to stop, that when a federal bankruptcy is filed for, that the federal judge stays all pending state court actions, and that's common in any case, whether it's United Airlines or GM or even individual files bankruptcy.
Michael,
the state court proceedings stop.
One of the discussions that we've been having on this particular case, and you know as well as anybody that it's complicated. It's not a perfect situation. The legal cases. It's bankrupt. How long will this take to play out, and at what point do people actually get the money that they believe they deserve?
Well, first of all, to the point you were discussing with Li-Ling earlier, I think it's likely that the single checks will continue to come, at least in the near term. I think employees will continue to be paid. Vendors who are continuing to provide services or product to the city will continue to be paid. It's the big obligations, the $350 million in budget shortfall they have for the year, the $18 billion in long-term debt. Those are the big numbers, and that's what the city is going to have to figure out how they're going to do it. This case is going to take a while. The cities of San Bernardino and Stockton, which are pending in California, those bankruptcy cases have taken close to a year to even get to the question, the threshold question we ask in bankruptcy cases in the United States for a municipality, which is the city eligible to be in bankruptcy? So we won't even get to that threshold question maybe for close to a year. And then after that, there's the plan confirmation process. So this will take a long time. I think during that time, individuals will likely continue to be paid the smaller amounts, but the big numbers, that's a big discussion.
There's going to be a lot of time to go over that. In newsrooms across America, and newspapers and magazines and online, the debate is raging over one thing, and that's who's to blame for this mess in Detroit. Some say it's racial, some say it's social status. I'm just curious, to the people you're talking to, who's to blame?
Well, you know, it's an unfortunate situation. I think that no one wants to place blame. The first thing people have is sympathy for the folks who are affected from those people we heard from who need this money to make ends meet. But certainly, Detroit did not do a good job as the auto industry retrenched And as the economy shrunk, Detroit did not do a good job of reinventing itself. As you and I discussed before the show, the city of Pittsburgh was in a similar situation when it lost the steel industry, but Pittsburgh invested in education, Pittsburgh invested in technology, Pittsburgh cleaned up its waterfront, Pittsburgh did a lot of things the right way, and as a result, we're not hearing about a bankrupt Pittsburgh. So, you know, there certainly is blame to go around, but I think at this point, people's hearts go out to the individuals who are so affected, and as opposed to pointing fingers right now, people hopefully will begin to ask the question of how can we help Detroit rebuild, because that's what this is all going to be about. If it's a success, it'll be because they help Detroit reinvent itself.
Michael, I hope you're right. Michael Sweet from Fox Rothschild joining us live from San Francisco. Thank you.